day. We're pleased to welcome now Robert Dozier, Executive Director of the Mississippi Independent Pharmacies Association. Robert, always good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Good to see you.
So the pharmacy benefit managers, you and I have talked about this many times, the ecosystem within the pharmacy industry, perhaps, the most Byzantine of all industries. There's a recent lawsuit that's been filed by Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Fitch, joined a lawsuit that has been filed by some other AGs in other states. And this concerns, I guess, holding the pharmacy, the PBMs, and perhaps the pharmaceutical makers themselves accountable for the opioid epidemic.
Correct.
Is this true? Is this what's going on?
Well, according to the press releases and everything, yes, it is. And I think that court case or that lawsuit has been filed in Hinds County.
Okay.
Last week, I do believe. Attorney General Lynn Fitch, I think, is stepping out there doing a good thing. Looking into this seriously, because the pharmacy benefit managers, they do play a important role in what the doctor prescribes and what the pharmacy dispenses.
Yeah.
And because the PBM, I was reading a press release, one of the local publications, they said they had interviewed one of the PBMs and said it is the ultimate decision of the physician to write the prescription. They are the ones that have the last say-so.
Yeah.
And that's not totally correct. The pharmacy benefit managers, they are the ones that set these drug formularies, these preferred drug lists.
Yeah.
They are the ones that put the drugs on these lists. The doctors, the physicians, they have to prescribe off of these lists. If they prescribe a drug that is not on that preferred drug list set by the PBM, well, then the PBM does not cover that prescription.
Gotcha.
So the doctor writes the prescription. They go to the pharmacy fills it. Then let's just throw a hypothetical out there. Let's say the doctor did not write a drug that was on the preferred drug list. They go to the pharmacy. The pharmacy tries to run it through the PBM, the insurance company or whatever. The PBM is going to reject it. And then they have to go back, get the doctor to write a new prescription for a drug that is on the list. So Attorney General Lynn Fitch, I think she's on to something, her and her staff, because at the end of the day, it is the PBM who has the final say-so if that prescription is going to be covered or not.
Well, how do you connect that to an epidemic?
Well, in her press release, in Attorney General's press release, she says that the PBMs are at fault, or claiming they're at fault, that they have negotiated deals with the drug manufacturers for so-called rebate dollars.
Yeah.
Okay, you and I have talked about this so-called all this rebate money, because that is how the drug gets on the formulary, the preferred drug list. Mm-hmm. Well, the PBMs are saying, no, that's not the case. We do it based on a clinical basis. We allow independent pharmacists to set these formularies, doctors, and everything else. I've been representing independent pharmacists for over 20 years. I started in Louisiana and I came over here in Mississippi. I have not met an independent pharmacist yet that has sat down with a PBM to negotiate a contract or to come up with a preferred drug list or a formulary that a PBM would follow. The PBMs, they set these drug formularies based on the number of rebate dollars they get back from the drug manufacturer.
Okay. Well, where do you think this lawsuit's going? Several other states, too, involved in this.
To my knowledge, there are several other states. Like I said, Attorney General Lynn Fitch filed this one in Hinds County last week. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. I think, she's probably got some good standing on this. Will it go to settlement? I don't know. Will it go to the full-blown court case? I don't know either. But I think she's on to something with this.
Okay. Interesting. Well, what's the venue, the court venue for such a case? Is this in federal court? I guess so, because it's diverse plaintiffs here.
No, I think this was in Hinds County Chancery Court.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thought for some reason that our Attorney General had joined in with some other states.
To the press release that I saw, she had filed this in Hinds County Chancery Court on this. Now, there are, I think, some other cases out there that states have filed on their own as well, too.
Okay.
Now, there could be a federal case out there. I haven't seen this. I'm just going off the press release that I've seen.
All right. I may have to check that out. I thought there was some other, and it could be a different matter, but something related is kind of what I'm thinking.
Very possible.
All right, you've got a PBM Summit coming up.
We do.
September 17th. Tell us about that.
September 17th at the Westin. There's this PBM Summit. You know, a lot of confusion is out there about the PBMs and how they work and what role they play in the pharmacy world and everything else. So our association is hosting a PBM Summit, basically kind of like a 101. It's going to be geared for pharmacists, legislators, and the business community. I have 3 national experts coming in. One gentleman by the name of Antonio Chacha with 3 Access advisors. He is like the rock star out there, how to explain the PBMs. You remember a few years ago, Mississippi had a settlement with Centene.
I do.
Okay, well, before that, there was a settlement with Centene in Ohio. Well, Antonio Chacha and his staff, they kind of were the ones that helped break that case and everything up there in Ohio a year or so before Mississippi. Antonio is a rock star. I mean, he knows the ins and outs of the PBM world and how the game is played. The second gentleman I have coming in is a gentleman by the name of Greg Baker. He's with Firm RX. That is a transparent PBM. He does a lot of work with Mark Cuban's Cost Plus drug program, and his transparent PBM is even the PBM for the Dallas Mavericks. And then the third speaker is a gentleman by the name of Greg Ribble with APCI. He is an attorney by trade, and he will be discussing some of these lawsuits that the employees are filing against their employers because they feel like the employers have not done a good enough deal negotiating with the PBMs, basically haven't lived up to their fiduciary
I got
deal.
How was the Biden administration, which enacted regulations that forces Medicare to negotiate drug prices and then capping the cost of insulin and so forth, how's that being handled from your members, the independent pharmacists?
Well, we're not seeing a whole lot of that right now. We'll probably start seeing some of that after the first of the year. Okay. And that was a topic you and I talked about last time, maybe a month or so ago. It's going to be real interesting because you have the Biden administration negotiating, or the federal government negotiating with the major drug manufacturers. And I think there's maybe 10, 15 drugs out there that they've negotiated a so-called price. But at the end of the day, the real question is, are those drugs going to be allowed on the PBMs, the Medicare Part D plans, formularies?
Yeah.
We go back, once again, the PBM is in control of setting those so-called drug formularies. So is everything the Biden administration doing for good, or is it not? Because it's ultimately going to be in the hands of the PBMs and the Medicare Part D plans. Because
you've probably seen some of the pharmaceutical makers have sort of responded by changing the way their drugs are priced under standard Part B Medicare, and so they're shifting the cost out of Part D onto Part B. I don't know if you've seen any of that, and playing shell games.
Think about this. Yes, it is a shell game. Think about a balloon. You blow a balloon up, it's got air in it, and you squeeze that balloon in. Well, another, it's just going to pop out somewhere else.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening.
That's what happens in the PBM world. Every day, all day.
Any legislation you might be pursuing with our legislature this year?
We're excited that Speaker White created this select committee on prescription drugs. We've had 2 hearings so far. We'll have 1 or 2 more in the future, in between now and October, early November, whatever you. So we're focused on that right now. We're going to see what comes out of this select committee and go from there.
Okay. tell us the location of the summit. Is this open to the public?
No, it's not open to the public, but if someone in the business community or something that we haven't invited yet, if they are interested, they can email Amy Wilson at awilson@mipa.ms, and we can work with them and everything else like that. But it's going to be down at the Westin on 17th.
Sounds good. All right, Robert. Appreciate you coming in and giving us a rundown there.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Folks, we're stepping aside for a break. We're coming right back. We got Jeremy Nelson coming in to talk about these topsy-turvy markets at 11:35. Stay with us.